Aging is no longer inevitable. Scientists have turned off the switch of old age in the lab and it could soon be available for everyone. But why would you need an expensive anti-aging cream or supplement anymore when you can get a longer lifespan for a few bucks? No side effects. The idea sounds like science fiction, but researchers are getting close to making it a reality. Decades ago, scientists believed that aging was just something we had to accept. Like death, we thought it was inescapable. However, recent studies suggest that aging may not be part of our biological destiny, but rather a series of errors in our DNA that can be prevented. But we're not done yet. The story of the century. But wait, there's more. A terrible enemy lies within us. Aging is a complex process that involves many changes in the body, including the accumulation of senescent cells. What are those? Well, senescent cells are a type of cell that has stopped dividing but has not died. They are often referred to as zombie cells because they hang around in the body long after they should have died. Normally, cells divide and replace themselves when they become old or damaged. But sometimes cells get stuck in this state of suspended animation and refuse to die. Instead, they just hang around in the body and cause trouble. These zombie cells are present in most tissues, and their number increases with age. They accumulate in places like the brain, muscles, skin, and blood vessels, where they seem to hang around for weeks or even months. What's really scary is that senescent cells don't stay quiet. They release a cocktail of toxins called the senescence-associated secretory phenotype or SASP. That includes inflammatory molecules, proteases, and cytokines, among others. Basically, these chemicals are meant to trigger nearby healthy cells to destroy the zombie cells. But as you might have guessed, sometimes this system fails. When it does, the zombie cells start to poison their surroundings, causing inflammation and tissue damage. And that's the real problem. Not only do these zombie cells refuse to die, but they also become a real pain in the ass for the rest of the cells in the body. So, it's no wonder that researchers are eager to find ways to target and eliminate senescent cells. Let me tell you about a groundbreaking experiment conducted at the Mayo Clinic that gives us a glimpse of what is possible. Here's the deal. Scientists were able to remove toxic zombie cells from aging mice, leading to a 30% increase in lifespan. That's right. By eliminating these pesky cells, the mice were not only able to live longer, but they also regained some of their youthful vigor. But it gets even cooler. The mice that received the treatment also experienced a decrease in age-related diseases and disabilities. They were more active and engaged in more adventures than their untreated peers. And let's be real, who doesn't want to be more active and adventurous? Now, before you start worrying that scientists are going to turn you into a lab rat, keep in mind that this experiment was conducted on mice. However, the results are promising and suggest that similar treatments could potentially be developed for humans. Imagine a pill or a shot that could eliminate toxic zombie cells and help you live longer, healthier lives. It might sound like science fiction, but it's actually becoming more and more of a reality. So if you're tired of feeling like an old fart, maybe it's time to call on the zombie cell busters and give your body a little refresh. Just make sure to save a spot for me in that youth serum. The era of anti-aging technology is rapidly approaching, but it also raises a lot of questions. The first is whether this technology will be accessible to everyone or only to the wealthy elite. The second is who will control this technology and how it will be used. The third is how this technology will impact the future of humanity. The current situation is that many of the world's largest pharmaceutical and tech companies are investing heavily in anti-aging research. For example, Unity Biotechnology is a company that is developing a drug that targets senescent cells. Another company called Ambrosia Medical is developing a treatment that aims to restore youthful immune function. These treatments are currently in clinical trials, but it's unclear whether they will be effective. Also, it's not clear how much they will cost. If these treatments prove to be effective, will they be available to everyone or only to the rich? Many experts believe that the rich will be the first to take advantage of anti-aging technologies. This is because these treatments are likely to be very expensive, and only the wealthy will be able to afford them. This could create a new class divide between those who can afford to live longer and those who can't. Now, the second question is who will control this technology? If anti-aging treatments become widely available, who will decide who gets them and who doesn't? This is a difficult ethical question that society will need to grapple with. One possibility is that governments will decide who gets anti-aging treatments. This could lead to rationing of these treatments and a situation where only certain people are allowed to use them. Another possibility is that private companies will control the distribution of anti-aging treatments. This could lead to a situation where only the wealthy can afford to buy them. Both of these scenarios raise concerns about fairness and access. It is important to consider who will be able to benefit from anti-aging treatments and how to ensure that everyone has access to the benefits of longer life. Finally, there is the question of what will happen to humanity as a whole if people start living much longer lives. What will happen to society? Will there be enough resources for everyone? These are difficult questions that require careful consideration. And here's the scariest part. While all this is happening, artificial intelligence is being used to analyze genomes, creating a terrifying new tool for genetic discrimination. Scientists are using AI to identify people with the best genes for longevity and other desirable traits. They then use this information to develop new drugs and treatments that target these genes. AI is also being used to identify people who are at risk of developing genetic disorders. This information is then used to develop new screening and diagnostic tools. But this raises serious ethical concerns. What happens when AI is used to identify people with undesirable genes? Will they be denied access to healthcare or even eliminated? This is a real possibility. Already in China, there are reports of babies being genetically engineered to have certain traits, such as intelligence or athletic ability. And in the United States, there are ongoing debates about whether to allow gene editing in human embryos. AI is being used to analyze genomes and identify people with the best genes for longevity and other desirable traits. But what happens when AI identifies people with undesirable genes? Will they be discriminated against? This is a real possibility. Already in China, there are reports of babies being genetically engineered to have certain traits, such as intelligence or athletic ability. And in the United States, there are ongoing debates about whether to allow gene editing in human embryos. In conclusion, while anti-aging research holds great promise for extending our lifespan and improving our quality of life, it also raises ethical questions. Will this technology be accessible to all or only the wealthy elite? Who will control this technology and how will it impact humanity as a whole? As we stand on the brink of a new era in science, we must consider the potential benefits and drawbacks of anti-aging research and ensure that it is used responsibly for the greater good of humanity. We must also be aware of the potential dangers of using AI to analyze genomes and discriminate against those with undesirable genes. As we move forward, we must ensure that these powerful tools are used ethically and responsibly. And that's not all. There's more coming soon. Don't miss out. Stay tuned. See you next time.